Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the All Round Coaching podcast. With last time doing 30 takes on the intro, I decided to bring Mel back for the shits and giggles, and we just we like to talk to each other.
Clearly it started again. We just thought that. I mean, I'm saying we as if it's my podcast. I think we just had too much of a good time last time, and it just made sense to probably do more of a duo thing. I don't know if anybody else listens to podcasts, but sometimes, or I certainly find that they're better when there's more than one person, because you can bounce off each other rather than Claire pacing up and down someone's house trying to record one podcast.
I've decided that Mel's now my co-host for every podcast that I do, and then it's not just me laughing at myself into my phone.
Yeah, and it makes for better bloopers as well, to be fair.
Yeah. So this episode, I wanted to talk about taking time off. Even obviously the employed and the self-employed, I think this is a topic that we'd like to cover. And obviously with this week as well, it's actually my week off, so it just felt appropriate to talk around it. And obviously their feelings of guilt, know when to hit pause, and not being 100 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. Have you found it? Day one, Monday.
Do you know what? It's actually been nice. Obviously, a podcast is a little bit of work, but it's something you can have a laugh with as well.
Yeah, I think it's that sometimes we said this before, where if you enjoy it, then is it really work?
Yeah.
And obviously, you're not face to face with clients or one to one with clients. Whereas this is something that you enjoy doing, and it benefits you as well.
Yeah, I think over the years I get that feeling. I know when to hit pause and I know when it's coming. I don't know if anyone else gets it, but I think my last time off was...
So I went to Paris.
When was that?
March,
April, May, June. So it's just over 4 months then. So that's when I hit a wall. Not everybody's the same. Some people like to just keep going and grind it out, but obviously a lot of people do feel guilty when they take that downtime. I just think you show up that little bit better if you do take a week away for yourself.
Do you not think you feel? Are you starting to feel less guilty now, though? Like as the years roll by, that you feel less guilty for taking time off? I just still feel like you get that immense feeling of guilt. I shouldn't have a holiday because you are, your own boss effectively.
Yeah, and I think everybody thinks when you're self-employed, the notion of actually taking time off is unheard of. But for me, obviously I am getting older now, I'm slowing down. My mental capacity does disappear, and I think if I'm at that point where the quality of my work suffers, then I'd rather hit pause and then come back more refreshed, and obviously sometimes with new ideas as well, and a little bit more productivity.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel guilty though for taking time off. I think sometimes, over the years, I think my work-life balance is certainly more aligned now towards the life side of things. But over the past few years, when I've been, obviously, I'm employed by someone, so I've got that flexibility to be able to clock off and switch off. But I think when you're leaving projects or you're leaving certain aspects of your job behind to other people, then there's that sense of guilt then to not not switch off really.
Yeah, and I think even like when I tell people I'm having a week off, everybody says, well, what happens? But obviously the world doesn't implode just when someone's self-employed takes a week off. Like, we're not robots, we can't go 365 days and on the constant grind. And I think we're in time where grind and hustle 24/7 celebrated, and then obviously you're deemed a little bit lazier if you do take a week off for yourself.
You are a lazy bitch. No, you're not, to be fair. You're forever running around like a blue ass fly. So it's good to actually see you have that time off and actually not do anything for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think you can tie in your goals. It isn't just obviously the work. Like any goal that you do, people think the more that you do, the quicker you're going to get there or the more successful you are. But if you're someone that's 100 miles an hour and every day is filled with something, what is the quality of your work going to actually look like?
Yeah, I think that, I suppose aside from like an actual holiday, sometimes just being able to recognise when to rest is a good one, where I've certainly been guilty of it, where I'll work throughout the day, not feel satisfied with what I've achieved during the day, and then work through the night, where in actual fact you need to know when to pause, to stop, and then pick it back up again. And I think a holiday does do that, doesn't it? An actual break, whether it's a day, 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, like it allows you to have that breathing space away from it, to have clarity.
Yeah, just not being like available for everyone but yourself 24/7. I know I show up better when I've had a minute to myself, but it is harder, and I think as the time's passed, it does get that little bit easier not to have that guilt, and I think people respect boundaries more if you take time away for yourself, and obviously you show up better, and then some people will be inspired by that and think, do you know what, yeah, she's right.
How do you actually start to switch off though? Like, what's the process for you? Is there something that you go right now, Claire, I'm going to give myself like an hour, 2 hours a day? Like, how do you kind of, I suppose, get to schedule that kind of Claire time? Yeah.
I've been guilty of not doing it, but going for a walk without my phone, because obviously I've started to put Do Not Disturb on. I have to turn notifications off, because once you see that one message, something comes through, it ticks over in my mind, and then mentally you're already replying, but you're trying to stick around your boundaries by not replying, but you're already in work mode by the time you've seen that message anyway. So my time off, I have turned off all notifications, I have muted groups, and I've took more time for myself, and it's been fucking delightful.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a good weekend, haven't you, where you've actually probably taken your foot off the gas completely.
Yeah.
Had a couple of bevs, had a good time. Like, that's got to be quite nice when you actually have that physical break, because I think it kickstarts you into that week off then, doesn't it, where you've had more of an actual Claire time rather than coaching Claire time.
Yeah, there's two of me, the Mr. Hyde. No, it's Coach Claire and then obviously just Claire, where she's not in constant work mode, and I find it hard. Like, if someone does ask me something, I do slip into that coach mode, or it's easy to answer a question, but then you're straight back in work. So where's that? You have to separate that, I think.
And we spoke about it, where obviously you work where you train.
Yeah.
So how does that boundary kind of affect your kind of rest period?
It still does feel like work, but I think clients hopefully do respect that if I am there training for myself, it is just for me. I always make sure everybody's set up and they've got the tools to actually succeed outside of that week off, but I'd like to think that a week off isn't going to impair anyone's progress, or the world isn't going to implode.
How do you find it though? Because like, that's effectively your workspace. So
it's probably harder to switch off, and people say go to another gym, but I don't know. I think it's comfort. It's home.
It is different, isn't it? I mean, I guess, how do you feel in terms of I think we were talking before about like knowing when to rest as well when it comes to training.
Yeah. So it's not throwing everything at it, like I always say, throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. Just like you training, you wouldn't train 7 days a week, or you wouldn't train twice a day, or just never stop training thinking you're going to get to your goal. That rest and recovery is going to matter, and it's the same in your work-life balance. Like, you can't constantly show up your best self if you just never switch off or take that rest. And I think there's a difference between obviously being busy and then being productive.
Well, I certainly feel that sometimes, where I think we said on the last episode, you get that bug, don't you?
Yeah.
And I certainly get. I think I started on 3 sessions with you, and now that's at 4. And we started on 4 now. But then I think you said to me the other week, like, why are you now scheduling 5 in?
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of because it's knowing when to rest. It's knowing when your body or your mind needs that time to go. No more. You've done enough. Otherwise, you're going to end up grinding yourself down. And I think that's where there's an interesting parallel there, isn't there, between the training side of things and the actual life side of things, where you need to know when to.
Yeah, you're not gonna get to your goal quicker just because you're smashing yourself into the ground. And obviously, can you consistently show up 5-6 days, whatever people want to do, and it rolls over into work? Can you consistently show up without flagging? And I don't think you can. Like, obviously, there's some people out there, but what's the quality of your life going to look like if you're just constant in work mode or running yourself into the ground?
Yeah, and you just feel fatigued then, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, what do you call it? Floppy dicking?
Floppy dick. If you've had a session and you've been absolutely fucked, it's a floppy dick session. Because it's not useful, is it? Like, it's not going to do anything, so know when to pull it back, give it a stroke, and then sorry for the small. We'll clean this up.
Yeah, I think sometimes I've certainly been guilty. I don't know if you have, or felt guilty of knowing when to go. I need a break. Sometimes I actually need to sit on the couch and watch TV for a little bit and just not have anything going on. And that feeling of, am I being lazy versus am I resting? I always have that constant battle internally with myself, because you think, oh, I've got so much to do, or you feel like you've got so much to do. Then when you need an hour or two sometimes just to go, I'm just going to switch off and do nothing. Like, how do you kind of feel? Because I feel immensely guilty about that. I feel lazy more than anything.
Yeah, I think, well, we've all done it where we don't structure our time and our days. Like, everything's in our head, and there's probably 50 tasks that you could break down and obviously not build into a day, but setting schedules when you're going to do it, like how important one's less important. Then you've got things that can be left, and not just trying to do everything at once.
But where's the harm in actually not doing anything at all?
I think sometimes you just need to not do anything.
Yeah.
And chill out.
Not schedule anything at all.
And relax. But there's times that I work better and you are similar or the same. Like, I don't work well in the morning, so I've taken my mornings now to sometimes go for a walk, sit down and have a breakfast, and then train myself before I see anybody. So knowing what times you are showing up best, I think that's worked well for me. Like, my best work comes later on, and then setting an actual time to switch off and not just going on into the night, and then it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're rocking back and forth on your own.
But I mean, in terms of, I think it was a couple of weeks ago where you'd come round and you'd gone, I'd started watching this series on Netflix, and you'd sat and watched 8 episodes, but then...
It was Firefly Lane, so if anyone's listening, it is good, but I added up that it was 26 hours, and I was like, that's a long fucking time to commit to a show.
It is.
I've never done that.
But I've never known, in the time that I've known you, for you to sit down and actually binge watch something.
Yeah.
So was that not quite nice for you to do that?
It was nice, but I think it was surrounded by guilt after, because it was prior to me launching 42 Elite. And despite obviously all the work that we did on the run up to that, it was working pretty much every single day, late at night. So
it's funny that your body or your mind's gone, no, I actually don't want to do this.
Yes, my mind didn't want to think anymore. That one brain cell that just bounces around, it was like, no, I'm having a minute.
It actually wore itself out. But yeah, I think that's when knowing when to acknowledge when you need to rest, isn't it?
Yeah, and I needed it.
Yeah.
And do you know what? It was an amazing series. Sent me over the edge, but it was good. It was worth it. I just think of that number of 26 hours of dedicating to watching telly.
But again, though, you definitely needed that, because otherwise you would have been spending 26 hours trying to do something else when you were flitting between 8-9 different tasks. And would you have been as productive?
No,
if you hadn't had that rest. Not. So once you'd finished that series, then you were ready and raring to get back into working your ass off again.
I agree. She's right. She's not always right, but she is today.
Okay, thanks.
So, time off, I think a lot of people, I said I was having a week off, and the first thing that people said is, oh, where are you going? And it's always associated with a holiday, with doing something. It has to be something to justify your actual time off. Not the fact that you need a minute to sit in a room alone and not speak to any other human beings.
Just make sure it's not a padded cell.
Got my arms crossed. But no, you don't always have to do something, and I think it is frustrating at times. Sometimes it's just nice to do nothing. I love being a little old lady, going for a walk at night, often together with Simba, living our best life, and then having a nice latte after it. So I think it's not associating with having that time off to attaching it to 20 different activities and holidays. And
yeah, it's different, because we're not living in a financially buoyant time either, so no. I think both of us would love to just be able to hop on a plane right now and just piss off for a couple of days, but it's not the reality, is it? But I think you sometimes feel guilty for when people go, oh, what are you doing in your holidays? And they're only asking, because I do the same, and you feel bad for saying nothing. You think, oh, I'm not filling my life with everything. And
I had a couple of things, but I did say some days would just be chill, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to be on demand. I just wanted to rest and sometimes not communicate with people as well.
So why you've been ignoring me?
My social battery does run out, and I know when I need to. I'm not saying I'll just leave a room, but when I'm done, I'm done.
That's the first time we've run out of things to say.
I know, we've got that pause. But yes, when we do have downtime, and I think this is always, it came up when I went to Level Up, how do you relax and what is your downtime? And I couldn't actually answer it. I didn't know what it was. Because obviously everyone's different, and I think you'll answer that with, oh, maybe it's Netflix, maybe it's blah, blah, blah. But
How do you feel with that? Because like for me, that my downtime is going and training. That's my time. Like, and obviously seeing friends, and we've actually got like a little fun little activities list planned, haven't we? just to force ourselves, because I think we've both been guilty of overworking and overdoing and not having a sense of fun.
Yeah, and that's because I never structured it in. Like I didn't, not that I don't know what fun is, because I am an absolute hoot, but I didn't, because it wasn't in my schedule, it didn't fit in my life. Not that sounds sad. Like my life has always been work and the gym, and obviously that's why I make friends with a lot of clients, because that's where I spend most of my time.
I think I suppose it's interesting that you talk around like structuring fun in, and it does sound really, really sad, doesn't it?
Organised fun, as Monica would say, is still fun.
But just planning things like going to, I don't know, I mean obviously we're going into town tomorrow and we're going to have a couple of drinks, but like we've also planned things in where we'll either go for a walk or I don't know,
things that bring you joy, allow you to unwind, downtime. Not to say that you have to get absolutely shit faced and go out, but it is nice to plan them things in. And I think potentially without the people that I've got in my life, I think I would just be in constant work mode. Oh.
I don't know, it's a funny one, because I was speaking to someone this weekend where she's a similar age to me, and I think I don't know if this is probably a whole other podcast topic altogether, but the whole alcohol consumed fun aspect of things, where you've got to go out and either sit in a beer garden or get absolutely obliterated. Like I was drinking since I was 14, so like I'm almost at that point where I'm over it now. I don't want to do it anymore. So it's interesting when I was speaking to this other person where she was saying, actually, I want to go and do more fun-filled activities, and I'd be interested to find out if that was a shift in a lot of people's mindsets. Like obviously we're in our 30s. Like, are we all at that stage where we actually want to just be doing stuff that isn't just fueled by alcohol and it's more fun-based stuff? I feel like I'm regressing at this point where I'm like, I want to go to the park, I want to go to the beach, I want to go rollerblading, like, where it's not boozy. Like I don't have to get shit-faced to go and have a good time.
Yeah, because people associate alcohol with unwinding and switching off and relaxing, and it does the opposite. It's just that it's a numbing. It is like it's a numbing drug. So I think people associate the downtime with alcohol, or as soon as the sun comes out. Is it beneficial? No. Can you enjoy it once in a while? Absolutely. But if all your downtime is drinking alcohol, you're probably going to feel shittier and show up shitter. If you continue to do that,
doesn't it, more than anything?
It damages your brain cells. I'm not going to go into that, but
I do think that's
my
a whole
one brain
other
cell
podcast.
can't cope.
That is a whole other podcast, I think.
But no, hopefully people take away from this, like, not feeling that guilt for having downtime. If you are self-employed, you are absolutely justified to have that downtime, and you're going to show up better for your business, better for your clients, whichever you do. And obviously, even if you are employed, you're going to produce a better quality of work in my eyes. If you do take that time to switch off, you're still a person and you still matter. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup.
It's got to be harder for you though when you're not paying yourself on them holidays either, for you to actually take that time off.
No, but I always say I offer a service, I'm not just a one-to-one face-to-face coach. Like, it is a service, and the tools that I invest in for my business, my clients can utilise that away from me. So technically everything is there for them to succeed. That 1 week away from me isn't going to harm any progress whatsoever, and I'd like to think I've taught them better than just relying on me in the gym with them. Yeah. Would you agree?
Maybe.
Thanks, guys. So we will leave it there. We will probably be back. This one didn't take as many takes as the previous. We actually got an intro on this one.
I think it took us 2 takes. I decided that I was going to cough my guts up.
Mel choked, nearly died. Yeah. But if anyone has got any questions, they can drop me a message. Or if anyone's looking for any coaching help, let me help you in your life. I'll help you be happier.
Just schedule some organised fun in.
I will. I'll make you have fun. But yes. Any questions, guys? Drop us a message. And Mel has been a great co-host. Outro.